all of you come out. We've done this like the past 9 years. I just want to thank everyone for coming out for all the free classes. I hope you guys had a great day for the career of the day, for the master classes, everything. And a special thank you to all our amazing volunteers who've been guarding cupcakes, keeping all the classes. Thank you very much. It's been fabulous.
I want to just tack on to that. You know, the film industry now, particularly as the awful phrase that people use now is content creators. But it's about, you know, making the writers, filmmakers, and so on. It's a worldwide market now. You're not just talking about coming to Hollywood and getting your movie made. It's a worldwide market, and the Great American Pitch Fest this year has sort of become the Great Global Pitch Fest, because last October we were invited over to London to do the Great British Pitch Fest for the first time, and we met all these wonderful volunteers, none of whom are in this room right now, because they're out striking the today's setup and they're working really hard. But we just want to say that everyone you met today with a British accent flew in from London to help you guys work out, to help you guys with the event, help us with the event. And I just want you to, when you see them at the party later in the hallway, just mention to them that how much you appreciate their commitment to flying halfway around the globe just to check out what LA has to offer and to help you guys with the event. So I appreciate that.
All right, we're going to get started right away.
I just fear that it's going to be a Chevy Chase on top of the ladder moment when I'm going to land on cupcakes. Let's keep going.
All right, we're going to keep going.
Cupcakes will be the reward.
All right. All right. How many here have been to the Pitch Fest before? Let's do a show of hands. Oh, wow, look at you guys.
Look at all you.
That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, for those of you who haven't, I'm just going to explain briefly how it works and how you can essentially make the most of it if you decide to go. And even if you don't, some of the things we'll talk about are just things to help you with your career as a screenwriter or developing a career as a screenwriter. The first thing we do is, you see all these air walls along the side? What we do is we open them all up and we have this giant ballroom. And in this giant ballroom tomorrow, we will have between 120 and 140 tables. And each table, there will be an agent, a manager, a production company seated. The tables are all about 10 feet apart. In the hallway outside, we have between 120 and 140 corresponding lines. And what that means is, say you want to pitch to William Morris, who will be here tomorrow. If they're at table 50, you get into line 50. And you also turn to page 50 in your booklet. And
that's table 125.
Yeah. And you turn to that page and you read all about that company, whether you need an agent, like in their example, whether you're already, if it's a production company, you want to know whether you need an agent to go to them and pitch your project. You need to know, budgets that they pay writers, stars they have relationships with, directors, that sort of information. That booklet is filled with that kind of material. You also get the name of the person you're pitching, their contact information, really detailed information.
What they're looking for, what they're not looking for, all this kind of thing, so you can target your pitches to companies that would be good matches for you.
So essentially you're in line 50, waiting to go into the pitch room to pitch to table 50. You've read all about them on page 50. And what you want to do is every 5 minutes, a bell will ring, you'll come into the pitch room, you sit down, you have a private 5-minute pitch meeting with that company. At the end of that time, a bell rings, you get up, you go around, and you get in line to meet with someone else. Something I should mention is the meetings don't have to be 5 minutes. Generally they are, but they can be as long as the executive wants them to be. We just hold the line. If they want more time with you, we just hold the line, and they can meet with you as long as they want. The other thing I should mention is that it may sound like you're going to be in line all day, but you're not. Because what happens is for every five to six participants who register, we invite another company to hear pitches. And that way the ratio stays low so that you only ever have 5 to 6 people at the most in any given line. But it generally doesn't work that way. You'll have some of the, like William Morris, for example, will probably have a long line. Some of the lines will have no one. And you can just go into those lines and meet those companies. But go in informed. Make sure you read through your booklet and learn as much as you can about those companies.
That's an effective strategy for your day. When you plan your day, you want to be educated on what these companies are and what they're looking for and all this business so that you can sit down with someone and know that the script that you have matches what they're looking for. However, what you're going to find, first of all, for those of you who have not been to our event before, just be aware you're going to get most of the pitches you expect to get, you will get. The beginning of the day, typically what happens is, before we unlock the doors to the convention center to let everyone get in online, it's everyone, who here's seen Dawn of the Dead, George Romero's zombie classic? Do you remember all the zombies around the outside of the mall, just like banging on the windows? That us in here, after we get set up, we're like, ha, look at the zombies. And that's you guys. No, but seriously, there's this tendency to believe, I gotta rush in and be first in line to get underway immediately.
You don't need to be one of those people hiding in the bathrooms at 5 in the morning here to try to sneak in line. Or the people that are kind of hiding behind the pillars, and then as I'm walking by, they'll just kind of keep moving with the pillar. But they'll find you. And you really don't have to worry about the lines. Just show up at about 9:45, wait outside the doors. We lock all the doors, and I'm sorry we can't let you in, but the reason is one person stops and asks us a question, and it delays us answering that, and we really want to get it open, and it's a massive thing to get open and doing on time. And I think we're getting pretty good at it, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we do that for you, and we have to lock you out, unfortunately, to do that.
Yeah. So prepare yourself with the information. But as the day goes on, you're going to find, I was rushed so much in the morning, I got all these pitches in and everything was great. You're going to find yourself sitting out there in the hallway on the couch and just go, well, all right, maybe this guy, I don't know if I want to see that guy. Okay, you know what, maybe there's no one on this line here, I'll go ahead in. So it's good to be educated, but don't be afraid to sit down with a company and say, you know, hey, look, I know you're looking for a horror, and I just have a romantic comedy. I just want to learn more about your experience in Hollywood, and you know, just what companies have you worked for in the past, and can you recommend anyone who you know who might be looking for a romantic comedy or anything? Because as much as we like to think of a pitch as a sales pitch, I can guarantee you only one thing for tomorrow, and that's this: no executive is going to whip out their checkbook and write you a check right there on the spot. Okay, you're establishing a relationship here and a business contact, more so than looking to make a hard sell right.
Exactly, Bob's so right on that. Pitching is about a conversation. When you sit down and you pitch to someone, you're trying to engage them. You're trying to get their interest in your project, to make them ask questions. And so you have to be prepared to be able to, converse about your project. If they're asking questions, that's a good thing, because it means that they're engaged with you and they're interested in your project enough to want to know more.
It's a 5-minute meeting, but that does not mean to have a 5-minute pitch ready. Please, by all that is holy on earth and in the heavens above, do not have a 5-minute presentation prepared about your script. Short, shortest. Right behind me is proof of how valuable brevity is in communication in this day and age. Twitter's 100 and whatever characters. 120 characters. 140. I hear 140, I hear 150. With 140 characters. I've pitched plenty of scripts, and I've heard millions of pitches from people just like you who like to say, can you listen to my pitch and give me some advice? My most effective pitch that I've ever given in all my life is 10 words long, which means it came in well under 20 seconds. My latest script that I'm only about 12 pages deep on is a 1-word pitch. There are a few of you around, like Diane, JD, I saw you, who know that 1 word. But it's a 1-word pitch, and it tells you the entire story of the movie, the tone of the movie. That's what you're looking for. I consider it my crowning achievement. I don't even need to write the script. I'm thrilled.
Many of you may think you've never pitched before, but the truth is you pitch every single day. You pitch every time you try to get your kids to go to bed. You pitch every time you ask someone out on a date. You pitch every time you try to get your friends to see a movie with you. They don't want to see the one you want to see.
Yeah, Signe and I are going out for dinner, and I want Chinese, and she wants pizza. I pitch Chinese like it was like I'm a champion. We get pizza, but just the same. The pitch is very
Are there any questions? This is meant to be really informal, so please, if you have questions, right back there, go ahead.
How many on average do you expect to pitch?
Well, most people get between 12 and 20 meetings, and it really depends on whether you want to wait in the longer lines or you're more open to going to some of the open lines. So that really is it. You will get that many.
And if there's anyone you want to pitch but you don't quite get to, everyone here is going to be in the cocktail party right afterwards tomorrow. It's right here in the same room. And so are the executives. So go on up afterwards and say, hey, I really have to sit with you, but I didn't get a chance. Just wanted to say hi and talk to you about my project. And So it's always something a little bit more accommodating about someone with a drink in their hand.
And a couple things I really should mention, because I always forget to mention them in the session. If you see anyone with the red lanyard, these red necklaces, these things, that means they're an executive. If they're the red ones, so watch for those. Because those are the people you probably want to target, getting to know at least, because they're obviously getting projects paid, or they could represent you as an agent or manager, or maybe hire you as a writer. I was just going to say that was the one thing I wanted to mention, and everyone is going to come back to me.
Other questions? Yeah.
This is the first time you're pitching. Do you think it's a good idea to go to a table that's not maybe your number one choice to kind of see how you're personally doing before you move on to that main target?
That's an excellent idea.
Definitely.
Even if it's not your first time. Like, tonight we're all going to go have some drinks at the cocktail party, then maybe you're going to be chilling out with people.
Hey, come in.
Then we're going to... Happy Party! That's actually the only one.
We sort of wanted to express how much we've enjoyed our time here. I've been here the last 10 years with Signe. When this event started out, Signe came to me and she says, I've got this idea, I don't know if it's going to work, but I want you to be a part of it. And after I heard you talking about it, I just thought, how can I say no to her? And Bob knows, it's hard to say no to Signe.
This is true.
And so actually, there are a lot of you for the whole last decade, you have been making thousands of people a little bit closer to their dreams. And we sort of thought that deserved an award.
So we came here to announce our retirement. Oh, yeah. We'll do a photo out here. Oh, you're leaving. You're leaving? Fair weather flags. Thank you.
You guys give a big round of applause. I hope you guys enjoy that.
That was sweet. That's the thing about this event. It really is a labor of love. Everybody involved, our guest speakers donate their time to be here and teach these classes for free. And all the volunteers that we have, and we do our best to try to make this an event that is really about building a community. And it's a community that we're part of. Like we share the same, we're writers, just like everyone in this room. And Bob and I are, just like you guys, we're trying to get our own shows off the ground. And that this really was just born out of a very real reason that was just about trying to help other writers get their shows off the ground and meet the people that they need to know. And hopefully we're doing that. That's what we're trying to do.
It's... we try to live by a philosophy of writers are a community. It's very easy to think of everyone in this room as competition with you. You think there's a finite number of movies to be made, and if someone's going to develop this guy's movie, he's not going to develop mine. It's just not true. Writers are a community. Only we understand what it means to sit down and craft a story with words on a page all by yourself. All that stuff that Shane Black was saying earlier today about how it's complete torture and how you have to force yourself to hit that key on the keyboard, and then also talking about how we have to reach down from the ladder and pull somebody up and then reach up and get pulled up ourselves. It's all just true, man. And so Signe has done 15 pitch fests now. I will have 10. She's done 14 pitch fests now. I've done 13. I missed the first one. And we're doing another one in Britain this October, so that's going to be 15 pitch fests in 10 years. Well, God bless you. Good grief. So we wouldn't make 15 pitch fests in the course of 10 years if we didn't really feel like we were contributing something to the community of writers. But I'll tell you what, It's not because it's restful and relaxing. No. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yes, practice. Go pitch to companies that are not your first choice early on in the day. Whether it's your first time or not, it's good to sort of get in the rhythm, get in your routine, get yourself comfortable, sort of, even if you've been practicing your pitch a lot, if someone replies, like if it becomes a conversation, people go out of their way, it messes up your mojo, your rhythm. So get used to, is there like a dandelion situation here?
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly endorse this. And we have a room full of Brits out there, so if they're tweeting that, I'm starting my campaign now.
Another thing that you want to do strategically is when you're planning who you're going to pitch to, I really recommend that if you're looking for an agent, for example, pitch the production companies in the morning. If you want an agent or manager, pitch the production companies in the morning. And the reason you do this is because once you've met with those production companies and gotten a request, then you can go to the agents and managers and say, hey, well, table 30, Lionsgate or whoever it is, said they liked my script. Now I need you. I need a third party to send it through. So that's a way that a lot of our writers have gotten agents or managers from the Pitch Fest. They've gone out and they've done their morning pitches with management or with production companies, and then met with the agents and managers in the afternoon.
When you say that to an agent, what the agent hears is, I get to make my 10% and I had to do none of the work.
Easy sale.
Easy sale. Easy as can be. Next question.
Go ahead.
Do you bring materials to hand out?
Sure. The question is, should you bring material with you to hand out? And I don't know about, I think we're the only event that does encourage you to do so. One-sheets, business cards, anything like that, even hard copies of your script are a great idea to have on hand. If someone asks you, most people will want an electronic copy of your script. But if they ask for a hard copy, and that's their preference, then you want to be prepared. So I do recommend that you always keep a hard copy always on you, as well as a copy in an easily accessible place, like your car, hotel room. You may also want to keep it on a thumb drive so that if you have to rush out and photocopy it, you can do that as quickly as possible. So a thumb drive is a good way to do that as well.
More likely, you're going to get requests for one-sheets, though, and it's going to be, and we really highly recommend you bring a one-sheet. One-sheet is just, think of it like a movie poster. It's just an image that sort of tells the story of your movie, the title of your movie, your contact info, log line, and a synopsis.
But for everybody who's worried about, oh my gosh, I don't have a one-sheet, it's just a tool, okay? It's a good tool, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you're devastated if you burn tomorrow if you don't have one. It's really just a poster for your script. It's something they can take back to the office. So when they go back to the office on Monday, and their boss says, "So what did you hear? Did you hear any good pitches?" He can pull out his pile of submissions and look at it, like say, "Oh, this one," and they can pitch it back because you've done the work for them. You put your log line on there. You've got your title. You've got your contact information. So it's easy for them to pitch it back to their bosses.
Remember, they're going to hear 100 pitches tomorrow, and then Monday they're going to have to say, they're going to go through the pile and say, yes, maybe, yes, what was I thinking, no, yes, no, maybe. And so they're going to say, what was this Joe guy? Oh yeah, and it'll remind them of the pitch that they heard fourth in a day of 100. So you want to sort of keep people's memory fresh in your script. And plus, the more marketing material you have, the better anyways. You're never going to be harmed by having a one-sheet either on your hard drive or in your hand.
And I remember the question I wanted to mention earlier. I wanted to say that if there are a few tickets that we've opened up for the lunch, I think 10,
Okay.
about 10. But the thing that's nice about the luncheon is that it's not necessarily about the pitching. It's really about building that personal connection between you and that executive. So I actually encourage you, if you go to the luncheon, don't pitch. Because what happens is you can actually sit there and find out about them as human beings. People want to work with people they like. So become that person. That's really what it's about. It's about not having bad breath, not dressing in weird clothes. It's about being a normal person that they can spend 18 hours a day with working if they need to.
Also, you want to work with people you like. Don't think of it like, I have to convince this person, otherwise my life and career will be ruined. Think of it like you're looking for a partner that's going to help you get your movie made. If you sit down with someone and they say, send me the script, but you think, I don't really like what the direction he's going, I don't really like it, that's fine. Be like, thank you so much for your interest, and you know, I'll be in touch, or you know, I'm not so sure, or whatever. It's not so, don't think of it like they have something that you want. In fact, as Signe pointed out not too long ago, think of it as you have something that they want. You wrote a great script. Go ahead.
That's so important because you've spent all this time here, you've gone to these classes, you've used all the tools that you have available, you have writing groups that you're meeting with and you're exchanging scripts. You've read every screenwriting book you can, you're looking online, you're taking online classes, you're going to hear every speaker you can, learn everything you can, because all those things help you to become a better writer. They help you to improve your craft. And with every improvement that you do, it's just all those things combined, you're writing this great script, you put all this work into it. And when you pitch to them, when you sit down, you pitch them, you've got to remember that. You're pitching them something that they're lucky to hear. You know, they are. You're also interviewing them. You want to know whether that's someone you want to spend 18 hours a day with, and want to work with for a long time. So it's just something you've got to remember, and go in there feeling good about your script. Don't be scared of people. You can do this, and you've got a great script for all your work.
People think of Hollywood as the cliffs of insanity, impossible to scale unless you're the Dread Pirate Roberts. But you're not pitching the cliffs of insanity or the Hollywood sign tomorrow. You're pitching another human being across the table from you. Human beings like hearing good stories, and they get tired, and they get excited, and they get giddy, and some of them are jerks, and some of them are nice, and most of us are both from time to time. So just remember that when you're pitching, they're no better or worse than you are.
But do remember that your script is competing against, like, not just the people in this room, but everyone. Everyone has a script, it seems. And you want your script to be the best it can be. And that's why I mentioned those things. Those things are tools. And if they can help you make a better script, you've got to use those tools because you've got a lot of competition. But write your best script. And don't ever, this is the #1 mistake most writers make. The number one mistake that most writers make is they send their script out before it's ready. Don't be that writer. Make sure you get it as best it can be.
Next.
So many companies have listed that you have to have an agent to get education, and people don't accept any cost.
I'm not sure which companies these are.
Some of the companies do list that you need to have an agent in order to pitch them. That's true. Look for that in the booklet. If you really want to pitch to them, go to one of the agents right here at the Pitch Fest and say, look, I want to pitch that company, but I need to have an agent. If I get a script request, can I send it through your office? That phrasing it that way means that they're not taking a risk by saying they'll represent you, but they'll be willing to represent you on this one deal, you know. Or do this: go pitch to them, and if they say I'd like to read your script, say my agent will send it to you, and then hurry up and get it. That's what I would recommend. That's what I would. Next, yeah.
Is it good to show trailer?
Oh, that's the question. The question was, is it good to like, should you show trailers in the pitch meeting? It's risky, okay, but I'm not saying don't do it. If you're going to show any sort of visual, whether it's a one sheet or a trailer where you're taking a laptop with you and playing, you've got some challenges and you want to be really well versed in it. You want to practice your pitch a lot. Practice playing it, making sure the technology is going to work for you. Practice doing it when you're giving your pitch, like practice on each other. That's what this is all about, meeting people that you can practice and get better at. Because there are challenges when you're in the pitch meeting that technology can go wrong, that you can do your pitch, and if you hand the one sheet, they just start reading it and they're not listening, they tune out on your pitch. My recommendation with one sheets is show it to them, reference it, but don't let go of it till the end. And with laptops and showing any sort of visuals as far as a trailer or footage, what I would recommend in that case is it's kind of a weird experience because if immediately you go into that pitch and you hit play, and how long is it? You're talking to a stranger at this point, and suddenly you're kind of in this intimate situation where you're kind of leaned over, cuddling around a laptop a bit, and that's a little bit awkward.
Cuddling is weird in pitch.
Okay, I don't mean cuddling, but
you do get close as if you were cuddling. I mean, that's not an inelegant description of how it feels to crowd around the little thing together.
I would wait. I would probably do the time to pitch, start the pitch, and then I would go into it and play. But be prepared in case your technology, craps out on you.
It happens. That happened today, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
So you were saying to show them the one sheet first before you pitch?
Yeah, the question is whether you should show the one sheet before you pitch. I would recommend have it in hand. In fact, someone I thought did a great job of pitching them. Would put them in a sheet cover with like the three, those sheet protectors with the 3 holes in them. They had a binder full of one sheets. So they would take that whole binder and they would turn to that page, reference it, and then they had a whole bunch of one sheets in that pocket of the sleeve. And then they would, at the end of the pitch meeting, they would take it out and give it to them. But they would ask. That's important to do too. You don't force it on them. You just say, would you like a copy of the one sheet? And then, a lot of them will say yes. But a lot will say no too because they don't want to carry all that stuff. The other thing too when you're dealing with one sheets is if you send it again after, it's almost like a visual reference where they'll go, oh yeah, I remember this one. I saw this before. And it's a psychological thing. So that's actually a good thing to do. You're going to show it to them and then leave one with them. When you follow up, send one then as well. It's double the printing, but it is worthwhile.
I would recommend saving the trailer for follow-up. Give your pitch, do your one sheet, have your trailer on YouTube or something, and then when you follow up, then say, hey, I'm glad you liked my pitch and my one sheet, just so you know we put together a trailer, here's the link. And that way, when you're following up with them, you're not just saying, hi, remember me? You're giving them additional information, and it shows that you're professional. It gives you an excuse to follow up, instead of just saying, just following up, have you read my sheet, my script yet? So that's what I would do instead of busting out the laptop. But a good trailer.
The goal of every pitch is to get the next meeting. Okay? The goal of every pitch is to get the next meeting. And there's a few things that you might want to do when you're doing that. You want to also tease them. You want to make sure that you are not giving them everything in the first pitch. You give them the first pitch, get them interested, then make the next step, and you maybe send the trailer in the second meeting, or the second email, or the second period that you do.
Next. No one else?
It's just about cupcakes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are all the cupcakes for?
It's our 10th anniversary, so it's free cakes.
It's our 10th anniversary in exactly 15 minutes. Okay. Go for it.
What would you suggest for someone that has a lot of screenplay, and first up here, should they focus on agent manager's production or more, choosing one particular screenplay and whoever the line, that team,
Yeah.
or, what's the best of it?
A couple things on that. First of all, I wanted to say, if you're pitching more than one project, and this wasn't exactly your question, but if you're pitching more than one project, you want to be careful, because when you go in there, the executive often feels like they're making a choice. They'll take a chance. They don't know you yet. They don't know your writing. They'll take a chance often on reading one script. So pitch the most appropriate script for them, because chances are, if you pitch 3 different scripts, they're only going to take one. The other thing too is if you're pitching 3 different scripts to them, if they say no to one of them, I think it's still okay in that same pitch meeting to carry on and just say, okay, so they said no in the first minute, and say, well, I have another one, can I tell you about that? And then just go for the second one, if the time allows. If it doesn't, don't rush the meeting. You could also just go on an information quest and say, well, what are you looking for then? I'd love to work with your company. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to become a director? Are you trying to, I'm on an information quest. I just want to learn more about you and your company. And, what are your personal goals? Get to know them as people. That's a big part of this, is just getting to know who they are. I would pitch myself. It's not just about pitching a script. A lot of times it's about pitching you and saying, look, I'm a writer just like you, or I'm looking for a director, or and don't be afraid. And the first thing, one of the first things you want to do in the pitch is also say what you're looking for. I'm looking for representation, or I'm looking for a company to option the screenplay, or I want a co-producer. Know what you want, say it, and then repeat it at the end.
But don't forget this. A quality writer is just as important as quality writing. It's going to be whether or not if someone's tweeting, they should put that up there.
You should put that.
What's that?
I said I want it.
Thank you. Winner. It's a quality writer, just as good as quality writing. You can have the best script. We produced a movie. Okay, we produced Below Zero, which Signe wrote, and it's awesome. But what I learned on that is this: if you work a 20-hour day, that's like a half day. You know, you work a lot together in little production offices, in smelly slaughterhouses when that's the location you're working in, cold and hot. You're working with people who you need to endure horrible circumstances with. So Signe mentioned it earlier, but I just want to reinforce it. You can write the best script in the world, but if you have clammy handshake, if you have bad breath, if you have a habit of laughing nervously at the end of every sentence, if you stink, if you remind him of an ex-girlfriend, I mean, there could be an excuse for them to say, no, I don't think so, because, look, I don't want to overstate this, but if they just wanted any old script without a person attached to it, they would hail a cab and just ask the cabbie for their script. Because we're in LA and everyone has one, you know, so it's important to remember that it's a job interview, okay? If you show up dressed like a pirate, you're like, Army, you know, and especially if your script's not about pirates, they're gonna really question whether they want to work in those sort of circumstances with you. So behave professionally, be loose and fun, but also know your script inside and out.
More questions? Yeah.
How should we dress?
Jeans and t-shirt are great. A lot of people wear a dress jacket over a t-shirt, just kind of dressed up casual. That's really the code. A lot of the men will wear the khaki pants and maybe a golf top, a golf shirt. The ladies wear just about everything, but really just dressed up jeans is completely appropriate. The uniform of the writer is generally jeans and a t-shirt, right?
Shane Black is wearing a uniform today. I also love when the question, what should you wear, follows me saying, don't dress like a pirate. He was always like, oh no, what now am I going to do? Next. Question? Oh, good.
Andrew gets a cupcake.
Let me tell you something. This going on behind, people say I should be Dr. Who reporting me, it's like the biggest ego boost in the world. Like my head wasn't even already big enough. Next, any questions?
Wow.
This is wonderful. We never finish this on time. Yeah, in the back.
We open all the air walls. Actually, tomorrow we usually open. This is Academy 1, which is in the middle. This is Academy 1, and then 2 and 3 are there, and 4, 5, 6 are there. What we'll do is open 1, 2, and 3, and 4. This year 4 will be open as well. And then the lunch will be in 5, 6, and then across in 9. I'll talk about the luncheon real quickly. I'll get to your question here. But the luncheon, what we do in the luncheon is we have the banquet table, and then just like these tables here, but what we do is we seat the executives first. And we seat them at chairs that usually have a chair cover on them of some sort, and they're not next to each other, they're spread around the table. There's usually about 3 of them around the table, and it's random. And they just sit down, so you never know who you're going to meet, and it's really cool actually, because a lot of the executives end up working together. But it's really a neat way to just meet a lot of people in a short period of time, and you just sit there and you just talk about what you do. You know, the best stories don't necessarily come from people in Hollywood. They don't. They come from people who are living lives, whether in Hollywood or Canada or the UK or wherever you are. They come from people who are out there having experiences and just having really rich lives. That's what makes you a writer, a great writer, is because you are having these experiences. So use that to inform your writing, but also use it when you're pitching, because that's how you connect with other people.
She's right. You're right.
And I'm sorry, there's a question.
Yeah, you said all the tables will be numbered, but is there going to be a company name too, or do you have to reference the book?
Company names are on all the sides.
Oh, yeah.
Will the lines be in numerical order, starting from the left as number 1 and going all the way around?
That's a good question. I can't believe nobody's ever asked that before, but it's a really good one.
That's a good one.
What I hate to say is that we forget every year whether we start over there with 1 or we start over there. So we're going to figure that out shortly tonight with our setup.
I can answer half of that
Is
question.
that 1 over there?
We start with 1 over here, and we go all the way around to number 130 or whatever over here. However, and then in the room, what we've done in the past is we start with 1 over here, and then we snake it through. So 1 to 10, 11, 12, 11 through 20, 21, 30, so it snakes through. This year, we have no earthly idea what we're going to do, because we have that extra L shape over here that is going to be part of it as well. So we're going to come up with a solution, and I think I have an idea, but
And actually, just to address that, I'm going to give you the entire, the full process of how it works. If you're in that line and you're waiting and you come into this main room, you don't actually just go straight from that line to here. We actually have, right where all of you are standing by those double doors, that's what we kind of call the holding area, the holding pen. And
the corral.
the corral, the bullpen. What we do there is we basically have all those people that were first in line go into that main area, so that way you can see the whole room. And you can see that 85 is way over here, or 32 is over here or there, or wherever it is. And that way you can kind of get an eyeball on where you need to go, and it makes it easier to get there.
Can I just mention something now, actually? I love you all. Thank you for coming. Now, here's the other thing I'm going to mention. Every year, this becomes the bane of my existence, okay? I say, okay, everyone, let's go. We're going to move into the holding area. And inevitably, the first people in line come into the holding area and stand right where that fellow in the striped shirt is standing. See him there? Right, there he is. Right near the door. It's like, as if there aren't another 120 people behind you trying to get into the room. So please, I implore upon you, for the sake of my not having a stroke by suppressing my anger, tomorrow when you're coming into the holding area, please fill in the holding area. There's plenty of room for all. I know, I love that you guys like cuddling up close, all being in that same little area, but man, fill in the space. It's really great, and that way when we take the ropes down, and you guys go on the thing, it doesn't look like you know, in the cartoons when like Charlie Brown has a fight, it's like a big cloud with arms and legs sticking out. That's what happens to you guys when you go out on the thing. Unless you just fill in the holding area, please, for me, as a 10th anniversary gift, please. Fill in the holding area every time around, and we'll all be friends again.
And actually, a couple things too. There's two things. First one that I don't want to forget is we are a community here, okay? And I'm going to ask each of you. This year we're a bigger volunteer team, but we need your help too. If you notice, every time the meeting ends, you do have to leave the room, okay? If you see that people are not leaving the room, you need to let us know. Let one of our volunteers know. You will get one warning. That's it. So
We
please.
will run you.
Yeah, and you know what? We need other writers to tell us too. If there's concerns about people, you need to tell us, because that's not fair to anyone in this room to do that. Okay? That was the one thing I wanted to mention. And we have laser pointers this year. We will find you.
Was it about how handsome I am?
I think it was it. That was it.
Well, we're just like, we have time for one more question, then it's cupcake time. Go ahead,
Hey, Diane.
Diane.
Back to the luncheon, will our names be on the table, or do we get numbers, or how do we know where to sit?
The luncheon is random. We ask the execs to sit in those chairs with the covers, and then everyone else just fills in the seats around them. So it is random, but you know, that's part of the magic too. You never know who you're going to meet with. You know, you might end up sitting next to Dave Reynolds and be fascinated by tales of, you know, writing Finding Nemo and how he got his start in the industry. So you never know.
If you're targeting people with your pitches, you end up sitting with somebody else. That's great, because the goal of the lunch is not to pitch. The goal of the lunch is to say, tell me about working in Hollywood. How did you break in? Tell me, you know, what kind of movies do you like personally instead of what your company's looking for. Like you're learning more about the general idea of having a career in Hollywood and becoming part of this culture than you're worried about saying, here's my pitch. Especially because it can be really awkward if you say, here's my pitch at the beginning of lunch, and they say, no thanks, and then you have nothing to talk about for the next day.
I'm also going to assume that all of you have been to all the pitch classes today, that you know. But generally, if you want in a nutshell what a pitch is, it is a story about a protagonist who has X as their goal, and these are the obstacles in the way. That's what your pitch is. You can do that in a minute. You really can. And then use the rest of that time to build that relationship, learn more about that company. That's really what it's about. It's about relationships.
Do you want to write a script, or do you want to become a screenwriter? The choice is yours, but getting these relationships together is the way to become a screenwriter. If you just want to write one and be done, it's going to be harder to get it sold because people want long-term relationships with people they can work with over and over again. So just ask yourself the question and structure your pitch appropriately.
Now let's eat cupcakes.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.